Hi friends, long time no see. It's good to see your faces. You are looking really good today. I've been invited to Friendsgiving this year. It's Thanksgiving at my friend's house. They've asked me to bring dessert. I need to make a confession. I hate pumpkin pie. I hate the color. I hate the texture. The whole thing, it gives me the ick. So instead, I'm going to make pumpkin cheesecake in a jar. Let's get started.
So here was my idea for the cheesecake. The bottom layer will be pumpkin spice cake, then a layer of pumpkin cheesecake, salted bourbon caramel sauce, whipped cream, and topped with a spiced graham crumble. So the first thing I'm going to make is the salted bourbon caramel sauce. In a large saucepan over medium heat, I'm going to add 1 cup of granulated sugar and a half a cup of water. And now here is where the magic happens. We're just going to leave this alone. We're not going to stir it. Every once in a while, I'll swirl the pot around, but otherwise, don't touch it. We're making a caramel here, so we're just going to wait until the sugar turns a nice, deep amber color. Whatever you do, don't walk away. I sped this up, but you can see it changes color very quickly. When it starts looking like this, I'm going to take it off the heat. Now you'll see why I used a large pot. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of heavy cream and a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. It's going to bubble up like crazy. Stir that until the bubbles calm down a bit. Now I'm adding 1 tablespoon of bourbon. This is Buffalo Trace. If you don't want to use bourbon, you can use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. When the caramel is looking all kinds of smooth, we're going to store it in a jar in the refrigerator. We want the caramel to be cold before we add it to our cheesecake. And now we'll do the next step, the pumpkin spice cake. First, we'll mix up the dry ingredients. Here's 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin spice. I have a recipe to make your own pumpkin spice. The link is in the description below. I'll use the stand mixer for the rest of it. First, I'm going to mix together 1 1/4 cups of dark brown sugar and 4 large eggs and beat that on medium speed until light and frothy. Now I'll add 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. This is avocado oil, and 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree, about 2 cups. I'm going to mix that until it's combined, and then you'll add the dry mix, alternating with the milk until just combined. Sorry, that footage got lost. And this is what it'll look like after you mix in the dry ingredients and the milk. Now you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and let's get our pan ready to go. I'm going to grab my super trashed jelly roll pan. A jelly roll pan is a deep-sided baking sheet. These are the jars I'll be using. These are 250 ml or 8-ounce wide-mouth mason jars. I just got them at the dollar store. I'm also going to find a round cutter for the cake so I can cut the cake to fit my jars. I found this biscuit cutter that'll be perfect, but you can use anything round to cut with, like a glass. Once the cake is baked, I'll cut out 12 circles to fit the 12 jars I bought. Look at my fancy pinky. Line the pan with parchment paper, and here's a little tip. If you put a little water down first, the paper sticks to the pan perfectly. And pour in your batter. I have made way too much batter, so next time I'll cut the recipe in half. I had batter left over, so I made a separate cake and, had a little snack. I'm going to spread the batter out evenly from edge to edge. Once the pan is evenly covered, I'm going to pop that into the 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. But the timing will depend on the size of your pan and how deep you made the batter. You can test for doneness by inserting a toothpick into the center of the cake, and once it comes out clean, it's done. Let cool for about 15 minutes and then cover and refrigerate while we make the pumpkin cheesecake filling. Using my stand mixer, I'm going to whip up 1 cup of heavy cream until stiff peaks and set that aside. I'm going to keep using the stand mixer and add 2 packages of cream cheese. I'll beat that on medium-high speed until it's smooth and there's no lumps. Now I'll add 1 cup of pumpkin puree, 3/4 cup of icing sugar, and 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. Mix that until it's completely combined, and then add 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a pinch of salt, and last a teaspoon of vanilla. Beat that until everything is completely combined and there is no lumps left. And then we'll add the whipped cream. I'm going to pour this pumpkin cream cheese mixture into a big bowl and fold in the whipped cream. No worries, David, I got you. Just watch how I do it. I'll keep folding until there's no streaks of whipped cream left and it's completely smooth. I'm going to cover and refrigerate this while I make the final component, the spiced graham cracker crumble. For the crumble, I'm going to use an entire sleeve of these honey graham crackers and smash them up in a Ziploc bag. Not too much, we don't want crumbs, just big pieces. Add those graham pieces to a bowl and then add 3 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a big pinch of salt. Stir that up with a fork until it's completely combined. And then add 6 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Oops. Oops. And a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Stir until every crumb is coated with the butter. Then I'll grab a baking sheet lined with parchment paper or a silicone mat and spread the crumbs evenly with your hands into a single layer. And then pop that into a 325-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 8 to 12 minutes or until they're golden brown and fragrant. I'm going to store this in a sealed container while I make some more whipped cream, and then we can assemble our cheesecakes. Alrighty, I'll show you how to do one jar. I'm just getting all my tools together here. You can put the cheesecake filling into the jar any way you like, but I'm going to use this piping bag. I have 2 of them. I might use the other one for the whipped cream. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to use this biscuit cutter to cut out a round of cake, and then put that at the bottom of the jar. Perfect. Now I'll drizzle in some of that salted bourbon caramel sauce, and pipe in some pumpkin cheesecake filling, followed by a layer of whipped cream. Now I'm going to add some of those spiced graham crumbles and a final drizzle of the salted bourbon caramel sauce. Just repeat these steps for all of the jars. And here's a closer look at the finished cheesecake. I can't wait to try it.
It's so pretty. I don't want to dig into it. All those layers. Oh, look at that. Oh, ready? Oh, the cake is really moist. The cheesecake is perfectly smooth and it's already set. It's a no-bake cheesecake, so easy. The whipped cream, I just sweetened it with like 1 spoon of icing sugar to like 1.5 cups of whipping cream, and it's absolutely perfect. And then on top we have these crunchy cinnamon graham crumbles, and of course the salted bourbon caramel, 2 layers worth. Oh, it's so good. One more bite. That is a special dessert. I know it was a lot of steps. It's 5 components: spice cake, pumpkin cheesecake, whipped cream, cinnamon graham crumble, and salted bourbon caramel sauce. So good, you guys. I hope you try it. Happy Friendsgiving.
You can find all these recipes on my website, and the links are in the description below. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, you might like some of these other desserts.